Well, good evening, everyone. This is Dr. Ellithorpe, and we are at Tustin Longevity Center in Southern California here. And we meet every week, 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, and we answer questions or try and talk about our functional healthcare approach to situations that our patients, their friends, and family present to us. It's not meant to be a treatment or my management or advice to anyone personally, but it's how I would approach the concept of whatever they're asking questions about healthcare. How would a functional doctor do this? We've been doing this for 40 plus years. My dad was in food research. So I grew up as a little girl in the labs of Armor Food Research and their taste testing area. So I guess I was destined to be in this. I'm 71 now. So I have a lot of knowledge of the entire field, and I have my opinions over the development of the uh, healthcare system, the complementary, functional, alternative therapies, and there's a lot to be said. Okay, so today we can start with some questions. We both have the email questions that I get. Um, I get them right before here, so I don't have any uh, foreknowledge of it. It's just handed to me, so I'll do my best. If I don't have an answer, I'll let you know, but I'll give you my best impression. And then we have the live questions on the YouTube. So if you're logged into YouTube, you can ask those. I tend to go to the live questions first for those who are taking the time to be present at this time. The email, if you want to email us your question, go to tlcdoctors.com. Once again, that's tlcdoctors.com. There you can get onto our newsletter, and then we'll alert you when we're doing this. We do it every week, so we send you reminders. And there's a link on that alert, and you can hit that link and type in your question or whatever. All right, so we have some live questions coming in already. Jilly says, good evening, Dr. E. I was a patient of Dr. Majid. She was really helping me and got me through a critical health crisis. Well, we thank the Lord for the time that we were able to have Dr. Majid with us and our help for you. I have an appointment with the PA at TLC next month. And PA Fadi Resk, Dr. Resk is just a wonderful PA. Then we have PA Leanna Gonzalez. Dr. Gonzalez is just wonderful too. So we are seeing very complex, multifactorial patients. We're not trying to take away their care from their primary or their specialty, but we're bringing alongside how we would treat you if you were going to get the functional approach. Many times you can blend the two and get a wonderful outcome. That way we can answer questions for you as you walk with your specialist or primary care doctor or both of them, how our functional medicine and our many, many years of experience, we monthly meet together to collaborate with our medical doctor, Mitchell, who is our gynecologist, still does telehealth. Myself, I'm a medical doctor, PA Gonzalez and PA Rusk. So the four of us get together and we discuss questions, challenging issues, and we just share our experience. So hopefully that'll be a blessing. Great is thy faithfulness, says, hi, Dr. Rita. Hi, back to you. And great is thy faithfulness says also, is Crohn's disease genetic or can it be prevented? There are those who feel that they have identified certain genetic patterns in certain cases, but the vast majority, I think, is in a damage through our American standard way of eating that presents the glyphosated, gluten-rich, modified genetically the grains that presented to our gut through their lectin, which is a term for a protein in the plant that is a signal that would normally fend off viruses or insects. But in human beings, it can also injure the cell lining of the uh, gastrointestinal tract. So I'm going to stay with what I've seen for 44 years of practicing medicine. I'm not convinced it's a genetic. I do believe that if we were to avoid genetically modified grains, of which I would say almost all the American grains are, glyphosation, which puts in the insecticide, intercalating it into the actual genome of the plant. These are damaging phenomena of which long-term studies, in my opinion, I think were inadequate and done with flaws. So that we're all being exposed to a high carb, which is an immunosuppressive diet. We are being exposed to the genetic modified patterns and then the insecticide, glyphosate. You add those things up with the other toxins, heavy metals from the chemtrails, and so forth, and you have a recipe for malabsorption and all the diseases and organ damage in every organ possible in the human body. Therefore, I encourage all my patients to find out their blood type. If you're a blood type A, you will need digestive enzymes when you eat more meat or fish or chicken or pork or eggs. But get a digestive enzyme even for children with blood type A. And that will help you chop up the healthy fats and proteins. Because remember, all of this between my fingers here is protein and fat. There's no plants, fruits, or vegetables here. Micronutrients out of a plant are probably being used if I eat them. But I eat very little plant kingdom food. Rather, I eat a large, like I made a roast last night so I could have roast beef this morning as a big hunk of meat before I came to work. And after I got done with work, I had some more so that I wasn't eating late. So, yeah, I think you can prevent it if you stay away from American processed foods. So I would encourage you to cook your own food, eat as natural whole foods as you can. If you're going to cook chicken, roast it. If you're going, don't deep fry it, don't put batter on it, things like that. That's not natural. A roasting chicken, a roasted beef, a roasted pork, wild caught fish, pasture raised eggs. These are the kind of things that you need to be eating. If you have vegetables, shop on the outside rim of the grocery mart where they have the live whole foods. And I would eat the very low carb, complex carbohydrate things like broccoli, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, green beans, using butter, salt, and for flavoring. And yes, we can prevent probably all the symptoms of Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis. Now, we have ways of treating that. We have the SBI Protect. SBI Protect has in it immunoglobulin A from the colostrum of New Zealand grass-fed cows. This is an immune protection with other nutrients in the powder. Then the phospholipids that I've always told, and you get this when you're eating real food like meat, fish, chicken, turkey, beef. You get the phospholipids when you're doing that, healthy fats and the proteins. And that lining of the gut is made up of protein and fat, not fruits and vegetables. And so that's another thing that we would encourage you on there. Jill says, oops, sorry, in November 2024, my uric acid was 1.2 milligrams. Dr. Majid did not get a chance to deal with that yet. What are your thoughts about low uric acid? I was a full carnivore at that time. Well, I don't see that as a problem. Usually, fructose and all sugar cane, All sugar is a sucrose, which is a dimer of glucose and fructose. Glucose a 6 carbon chain, fructose a 5 carbon chain. And the fructose actually is very, you might say, foreign metabolically to the human body. It actually inhibits energy production, mitochondrial energy production, and in about 3 enzymatic stages, it'll take in your cell away from healthy metabolism, and its end product is uric acid. So all the fructose in your ice cream, your frate, latte, sugar drink, flavored drinks from your coffee, all the sugar that's in a cake or in your sugared up yogurts or sugared up everything that has so much fructose. This is what is metabolized into uric acid. It is a theft of your mitochondrial engine production of ATP. It'll take the ADP to AMP and then finally to a uric acid. And it's very, very damaging. So, what this speaks to me is that, Jill, you probably are a true carnivore, staying away from a lot of that fructose, and therefore you have a healthy uric acid level. You are a outlier, meaning most Americans are eating the lousy standard American diet, full of high fructose, addicting, habit forming, resell, resell, resell mantras of their marketing. And they're so full of it, they've created the silly lab ranges, which is population average. Doesn't have anything to do with being informed, educated enough in chemistry, biochemistry to look at a lab, look at your patient and say, is this healthy or not? These doctors are so undereducated, they're just following the range offerings. So you are an outlier. You represent what true health is. So that's a perfect example of what's wrong with our system. Bismarck says hello, and I say hi back to you and thank you for coming. Jilly says P.A. Gonzalez is who you will be seeing. You're going to love P.A. Gonzalez. I have never seen a more intelligent, when I went to medical school in the 70s, the oldest person who graduated from medical school in my class was 64 years old. And I think there are some people who are physician assistants today, nurse practitioners, who need to go on to medical school because they're really studying biochemistry, chemistry. They need to go on to medical school and amplify their latitude and ability to start their own practices. Yeah, that's what I would suggest. And P.A. Gonzalez is one of them. And I'm sure P.A. Rusk, the gentleman here, both God-fearing, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful people. I am so honored to have come and be able to work with them. Let's see. Carolyn says, "Hi, Dr. Rita. My 94-year-old mother passed away a week ago Saturday. I'm sorry, Carolyn. I miss her and I'm heartbroken. Can you please include her in your prayers? God bless." Carolyn Morelli, give me her first name. Send me what her first name is. I always pray for my patients, and yes, I will pray for her, Carolyn. And I cared for my mother all the way until her last breath. I was cuddled up to her. I kept her in my home, no nursing home. And I was with her during her last breath, and I was just so blessed. She was able to tell me just moments or, within the minute before she passed, she said, "I love Jesus." And that was such a blessing for my ears to hear. Then my father passed in my arms also. And so I was honored to be able to see him get baptized and accept his faith in Christ Jesus. And then my sister also passed in my arms here with me in my home here, just a block or so away. I know what it means to lose family members, and it is such a issue. If especially I feel at peace, I know I'm going to see him again, because that's the hope we have, is that we don't sorrow as others do. We have the hope in the Lord that they'll be resurrected when He comes back. So there you go. So what is the name? So her name is Constance. All right, beautiful Constance. I will pray and give thanks. Let's see. We were all with her. What a beautiful thing until the end, too. And all her kids, grandkids, and great grandkids. Her name is Constance. And Carolyn, I have seen many people die in 44 years, especially when I was an emergency room doctor. And in those years, even in the young men who were soldiers who were injured, we couldn't save. They would look up into my eyes as I was frantically working on them, trying to get central lines and even cracking a chest on someone to open up their chest and do paddles to try and restart their heart. None of these people are recounting how much money they have or what position they had or who famed, what fame and how they're going to be remembered. But the ones, if anything, they would say is they want their family there. Where's my wife? Where's my husband? Where's my mom? Where's my siblings? Where's my wife? Where's my children, my grandchildren, and so forth. And so the greatest thing we have is how we treat one another. The greatest thing we have is to believe the best in each other and to be so forgiving. It's what we have 70, 80 years. So, okay, it'll be hard to maybe you're supposed to love your enemies, do good to them that despitefully use you, whatever is lovely, beautiful, think on these things. And if someone offends you, turn your cheek and offer them the other cheek. Yes, we're supposed to, yea, it is with much tribulation we enter the kingdom of God. So let's suffer to each other and try and be faithful and be there and work for the Lord, because who knows which moment, which kind, loving, which faithful thing, which enduring thing you did that made that person say, this person's consistent. This person has a strength and a peace through storms that is I've never seen in anyone before. And I am going to look into their claims about the only God who chose to make His home inside of the believer and make His kingdom rule from within our hearts, and that there's no other supposed religion that claims that. So how wonderful and how exciting it is to see. And I still, I would say almost daily, I think of when I'll see him again. I think of who was it that I was reading in the Bible, and yeah, it was today. I was reading in the Old Testament in Jeremiah chapter 50, 49, 50, right around there, where he's talking about all the woes unto Ammon and Edom and all these nations. And I was thinking about the, what was her name? Ruth was a Moabite, and she became the great, great, great grandmother of David, King David. So I thought, I'm going to meet some of these people. I'm going to be able to ask them about these events, these wars, these fights, the fall of Jericho, all these crazy things that went on. And I will be able to have a body of knowledge that I can think of and refer to by reading the Bible. And I know I'm going to see these people. I'm just going to see them. And how cool is that? Ruth and Esther, Miriam, meeting all these wonderful people. Hopefully Eve, I believe Eve will be there. So that's too much talk on that. But yes, it's precious in the sight of the Lord is the death of His saints. And so that touches my heart. Maybe the Holy Spirit in me just aches with you and yet wants to compassionately share that with you. Great, great data there to share. Okay, now let's see. The next one is Jilly. I am an O type blood. Earlier, tested O, but Dr. Majid checked after I did a blood donation and was told I'm O positive. At TLC, blood type came back O with RH factor weak D. Should I test again? I wouldn't. And the answer is it's just the general category, not so much the other nuances. There's many that alleles that you can do that are differentiating. So there's a lot you have to go through matching for like if you're going to be a donator of a kidney or something. It is the concept of O's as a class having the hyperacidity or always having enough digestive enzymes and acid that it puts them to the point of having stomach ulcers, excess heartburn, and that kind of stuff. And then we see so much sensitivity to the pasteurized, homogenized dairy and to the uh, genetically modified glyphosated grains. And this just tears up O's in my life. And it's so common. There's burger buns and there's waffles and pancakes and there's all this bread, crackers, and bread, wheat, grain everywhere, and then dairy everywhere. And it hurts the O's. Then we see the A type blood with too little acid, too little digestive enzyme, and that hurts them in another way. Bees, like I'm a bee, we tend to have such bad allergies in general, slower metabolism in general, not all bees, but in general. And then A bees are a blend of the A type lack of acid and some allergies. So I wouldn't worry about that to pursue it further. Jilly says, thank you so much, Dr. E. I appreciate you and will continue to keep you and your staff in my prayers. I covered that, Jilly. Thank you so much. I believe in God and I believe that we are in a war. We are in a spiritual battle every day of our life. And God has every right to test us and our faithfulness to Him. And so we do go through trials. And the world that I can't see with my eyes, but I know is there, is both spiritual and physical. And I need protection from my guardian angels against the evil that is out there. And so I do covet and I most appreciate being lifted up to God in His remembrances as well. Thank you. Christina says, hi, Dr. Rita. What do you think about the measles coming back? We don't vaccinate here. Well, measles are always here. Measles are not a disease to be feared. It is an infection that is usually extremely mild. 99.9999% have it and they get the fever and the rash and maybe a little exfoliation of their skin. And that's it. And then they get this lifetime immunity. They get an enhanced immunity. And they are just, a wonderful good immune specimen of a human being. To stop that with a vaccination that potentially has many, many concerns and certainly not enough laboratory and clinical testing against the non-vaccinated. Remember, I think I told you one time, if you take a child and you give them, uh, 10 shots of whiskey and you look at them acting drunk, and then you say, let's see if we give them 10 shots of whiskey and another child, but add 1 shot of vodka, it will be testing the vodka and see if it adds to any concern. Well, you're not going to be able to separate out the 1 shot of vodka compared to the 10 whiskey shots you gave them. And that's really what they do. What they allege is vaccination testing, because they never test against unvaccinated children. They're always using a vaccinated group or comparing it to another vaccine or mixing it in and amplifying another vaccine. So the testing is flawed and the results are blurred. The outcomes are unimpressive. And the measles itself in the unvaccinated versus the vaccinated can generate activity of the virus after vaccination and impact their environment. And so once you're vaccinated, just like they lied to us about COVID, and said, once you're vaccinated, you can't pass it in. It stops right with you. What a lie that was. What a deceitfulness. So, no, I don't think much of this. I certainly, out of 350 million people in America, of which maybe, 100 million, 75 million are children. I don't think we have any concern, nor has there been any serious concern. And if you look at that book, Dissolving Illusions by Susan Humphreys, and you look at tracking measles as a incident of infection and risk of death, you'll see that over the centuries, by about the time sanitation and communication, peace and lack of war occurred right around 1940 after the World War II, and there was shipping and oranges going everywhere and bananas and better plumbing and housing and a chicken in every pot, like Roosevelt would say. This sanitation and healthier nutrition, even in the winter months, the measles as a measurable entity of an infectious disease causing death was already totally wiped out in a sense as far as being not concerning. And then 1963 or 4 is when the vaccine came out. It was totally after it had already been basically cleared up with sanitation and good nutrition. So get that book, Dissolving Illusion. You can go on the computer and write in Dissolving Illusions Graphs, GRAPH, graphs. And you can see the graphs, and they have them all there. There's some videos on it. It's just astounding that we ever even thought we needed vaccinations at all. All right, next question is great is thy faithfulness. Okay. Should I be concerned about eye dilation drops for my daughter's upcoming eye exam? Are there other options? No, I don't think there's a concern. I've never seen a problem with it in 44 years. I was an ER doctor for many years. This is just, it's kind of like blocking something that prevents a constriction, so to say. And so you do that during surgeries when you're blocking muscle contractions, sort of like paralyzing the whole body with high drug amounts. But just to put a drop on the eye for the local reaction, I don't think that's a concern. Then the next one is, I have been diagnosed with osteoporosis, a T-score of minus 3.5. Rheumatologist is recommending Evenity. What are your thoughts? Also, I have dental work to complete. So I'm going to say we have taken all kinds of people with osteoporosis scores of -5, -4s, -3s, -2s, and with natural hormone replacement, estradiol, progesterone, sometimes testosterone also, certainly always DHEA, and stomping, weightlifting, a rich protein diet, lots of water, low carb diet. We have directly, and vitamin D with K2. We have seen tremendous resolution, even to the point that I have many 80-year-old women who have normal bone densities, and they've never used any of the Fosamax or Evista injections. So that's what we would do. Vanessa says, is there a good way to detox contrast after an MRI? Yeah, do an EDTA chelation. Ethylene diamine tetracetic acid is the man-made amino acid-like molecule, just like an amino acid that you pee out, non-toxic, safe for babies, toddlers that chew lead. It was designed and approved FDA for lead removal in children who got exposed to lead. Too bad the silly doctors couldn't think of that back up in Flint, Michigan, when they were trying to save the life of those children who were exposed to lead there. but that's what I would use. EDTA chelation therapy. Um, and then ALG says, lovingly, God bless you. Thank you. Uh, Deja says, love the bangs. Okay, well, good. I just, I'm always trying to look competent, and it just makes me look kind of younger and more girly like. And sometimes I think that I should try and look older and more stately in my 70s. But what the heck, I thought I'll do the bangs again. And of course, I think I have to do what my husband likes too, and I think he likes that. So I try and make him happy. Okay, Charlene. Oh, Charlene. Hi, Charlene. I'm surprised you're not watching the speech by President Trump tonight. I think he's on right now. So good for you, Charlene. I'll catch it afterwards. Hi, Dr. Rita. My question is about parasites. How prevalent are they? Not very. Okay. Now, I am formally trained as an allopathic physician, but I also did a second doctorate in integrative medicine at Capital University of Integrative Medicine. The place is now shut down. It started in the early mid 90s and it lasted until about 2010. Uh, and there just wasn't enough support for the alternative world. But I think now, had they started it up again, it would really catch on. We had quite a bit of information over 2 years of training, and you got a second doctorate. We went through the underlings theory of the pleomorphic stages of, you know, bacterial infectious life, they put it, where a bacterium, virus, a fungi could be many expressions, even to convert to a parasite, so that there was many forms of it. This is called the underling theory. I don't think the science, because was trained as a chemist, analytical chemist. I wasn't impressed with the science that they were bringing. I appreciate the thought behind it. I'm definitely upset with all this dark field microscopy. I have a dark field microscope. I can take a prick of my blood, put it on a slide, amplify it, project the image so you can see it. And I can take that blood and I can look at it. And if I'm looking in the dead center of the little plate, you'll see the blood flowing around. But if I just slightly minuscule shift it, I can get closer to the edge. And as you get closer to the edge, you have more oxygen coming in and damage to the cell and the lining up of the cells into little stacks called rouleaux. And I've seen a corrupt practitioner after corrupt practitioner over the years talk about this at health shows, and I can see they're highlighting, and they have the slide at the far edge of the little square cover slide. And so I think much of what is being published on dark field microscopy is bogus. So I don't think the parasites are something of a large status that we need be concerned about. How prevalent are they? So we answered that. Can changing the diet eliminate most of them? Well, if you eat a low carb diet, and you eat healthy, immune enhancing, rich proteins and fats, you're going to have an immune system that's able to attack them, better formation of enzymes made up of all those amino acids you ate to digest things. So if there was something in your food, you could chew it up better with acid. I take digestive enzymes. So yeah, I think a healthy, low carbohydrate, carnivore type diet is the best way to handle that. And then of course there's ivermectin, fenbendazole, menbendazole. There's many antiparasitic things, and we can find that out. Charlene, we got that one done. Okay. Sarah Mejia. Hi, Sarah. How would you calm a fearful family member who is worried about death from measles with the current outbreak? She goes on to say, my answer is that a healthy child person would not die from it, even if they caught it. So keep healthy, and many supplement with vitamin A. They're worried about unvaxxed kids. Well, you'll just have to tell them either they're going to listen to doctors who have practiced every day. I've never taken a vacation for 44 years, and I've seen ER, and I've seen children, and have had a general practice, and I have never seen measles be a deadly disease ever. It is an infection. It is self-limited in the sense that once you get it, yes, it's one of the more contagious viruses, but it is such a low risk for mortality. Um, and if you're healthy, like you said, and you have enough vitamin A is also associated, plus vitamin D, plus zinc, but plus keeping the sugar and fructose low, you're not going to die from it. So you'll have, this is the same lying scare from the manipulated news, corrupt news sites that looked you in the eye and kept on putting up ticker numbers of people dying of COVID around the world or in the nation. Just fear porn, fear porn. And we have already knowledge of Operation Paperclip and many of these CIA mind managing news media tailored talking heads that have been designed to put out a narrative. And when it's all similar, you know, from the local stations to the big central stations, and you've seen the many heads talking, and they're all singing the same lines. You know this is controlled media, so you just have to tell them to grow up. We've gone through measles. It is not some big disease. It is an infection. It is brief. It is not with any serious at all risk of death, and it is much to not be worried about, especially if you take a good multivitamin and a healthy diet, some extra vitamin D, and maybe some vitamin E and A, the fat solubles. Okay. Kate says, my mother and all my aunts have had bad osteoporosis taking Prolia. That's sad. They're all in their 70s. What can I do now in my 30s to help prevent having osteoporosis when I'm their age? Well, don't use the birth control pill, and raise up your girls and your boys to be celibate and honorable, and stop having all this casual sex and then using the birth control pill to inhibit ovulation and cycles and low estrogens. We're raising entire crops of women who haven't experienced the fullness of their hormones. How about we tell the guys, well, right when they're around 10, 12 years old, we suppress their testosterone, until they're able to take on the caring for a family and providing for them. That'd be ridiculous. So, number one, end the birth control pill, teach moral constraints and consequences. Number two, abstinence. uh, then and then tell them get on natural hormones. We actually are seeing an epidemic of early menopause in 30-year-olds now. We're seeing way too much menopause in 30-year-olds. Well, it's because these poor girls have been on so much birth control. They've had so little natural hormone development in the early years that as they have any stress of aging, they're falling into menopause even earlier. So natural hormone replacement, I would give progesterone to all teenage girls from day 15 to 25 of their menstrual cycle. Why? Stress suppresses the follicle luteinizing hormone, so there's no stimulation, therefore no ovulation. Therefore, you have an imbalance, estrogen dominant cycle. Then you get all this polycystic ovarian, obese, hypertension, acne kids, and it's just a mess. That we have just got to start listening to some common sense, good old general family doctors and how to do this thing right. Just get rid of this processed junk food, get rid of late night eating and snacking, and stop these sugar drinks, and get the exercise and get the light control, video imaging under control, stomping and getting outside and doing the activities, weightlifting, um, natural hormones, vitamin D, checking levels, vitamin K, those kind of things. That's what I would do. Okay, and then Sarah says, "Love and thank God for you." Oh, we love and thank God for His wisdom. That's for sure. Now let me get to some of these here. Aaron says, "Is it safer to undergo propofol or a pretty large local block for a trigger finger surgery? I'm totally healthy, 52-year-old." Trigger finger means the tendon is getting stuck for contraction, the slide of the tendons here. I would tend to go for uh, the local with lidocaine infusion. And there can be some problems with propofol. Propofol deals with inhibiting the GABA pathways, a neurotransmitter, and lidocaine is a sodium pump inhibitor, and so it's only going to last for anywhere as short as 30, but maybe as long as 3 hours. So there can be harm and hurt that's prolonged with propofol, and propofol, where there's lasting harm, they use lidocaine to deal with the pain. So I would use lidocaine. Krista says, "What are your thoughts on taking serapeptase and nattokinase? Serapeptase and nattokinase for heart health." Well, nattokinase has been actually studied. There are studies that look at actual carotid artery plaque reduction for those who are using nattokinase. Doesn't mean serapeptase doesn't do it. It just, we know that these proteolytic enzymes work. Now, if you're going to eat a high carb junk diet, not drink enough water, and not exercise and be a couch potato, then it's not going to be as dramatic a help, but it will be a help. Serapeptase is usually a systemic from the head to the toe, where it's implied in the research that nattokinase has more of a cardiovascular benefit, whereas serapeptase is more systemic. So if you had an aching tooth or a sinus congestion, or you had knee pain, back pain, hip pain, serapeptase would be what you use. So I use Vitalzyme that has the serapeptase, Vascuzyme that has the serapeptase in it, but I'm not against nanokinase. And there are certain products that combine them, but then it becomes ridiculously expensive. So I found that serapeptase does everything. I've seen clots greatly shrink and almost go away just using serapeptase. All right. And what do I recommend for a healthy heart free from clogged arteries? I recommend whole foods, no processed foods, nothing with a barcode on it. Just eat real food. Eat early in the day. Stop eating late. More of a carnivore diet. Exercise, weightlifting in particular. Half your weight in pounds as ounces of water every day. Get your light circadian cycle, grounding, kick your shoes off, stand in the wet grass at sunrise for 2-3 minutes. Get some infrared light on you, get an infrared light in your bedroom, maybe do that. I use Sauna Space, and I try and get 20 to 40 minutes most every evening. I listen to a lecture, a science or a Bible lecture, when I'm sitting in my little tent right in my bedroom for that. So that's what I would say. Debbie says, if you took a lot of antibiotics when you were younger, when you got sick with flu or colds, could that cause you to carry and gain weight in the abdomen area? If so, why is that? The answer is yes. And we are learning more and more. Fortunately, the functional, integrative, alternative medicine healthcare providers have pushed and pushed, and we knew we were right for so many decades we're starting to see the specialists finally bow the knee and agree that we were right all along. But really, it's God that's right. So what we all need to do is bow our knee to him. He created us. Why don't we go to him to ask for help? Anyway, what they find now are gastroenterologists are starting to see there are certain bacteria that are associated with a thinner person type, uh, fecal transfer from the thin stool into a person with obesity. We start seeing then a confirmation of that body to the new presence of this type of bacteria. I don't know if it's um, Lactobacillus rhodori, I think was one of them. But anyway, so there are bacteria now we're finding that are linked with a better metabolism. And yes, this can be harmed from all these antibiotics and the standard American bad diet full of high carbs, sugary drinks. So that's why. Stella says, how do you prevent flare ups for eczema? What causes it? Can it ever be cured? Well, it's going to be the same thing. So I sound like a broken record. There isn't new ways to health. I mean, the pharmaceutical and the hospitals want to think that there's unique little pathways, but in general, there is health, and that there is a way to move away from health. And the way you move away from health is you eat processed foods full of hydrogenated fats, seed oils, and you eat anytime you want. You snack ad lib. You eat very little protein, red meat, animal products, and you're just eating high carb plant foods in abundance. You're very inactive. You're indoors all the time, no sunlight, no infrared light. You're in front of the screen all the time, a lot of blue light. You have terrible sleep cycles, poor sleep, and you don't drink water. You're always drinking entertainment drinks. So yeah, adults don't drink out of bottles anymore. We put that our bottle liquid into names called frate latte coffees, and names called energy drinks, and names called sodas, and names called diet sodas. So we have our bottles just like little babies have to have their bottles. We just call it a different thing. No, you need water, and we need exercise and movement, and we need to be with the cycle of light and go to bed with the cycle of light. So when you fight those things, then along with your genetic sequence, your blood type, the degree of damage in your gut, micro leaky gut, that chronic inflammation creates an immune response that can go and have molecular mimicry or misreading, and you can attack your thyroid, or you can attack a joint with arthritis, or you can attack the neurons, the myelin sheath, and get MS or ALS, or you can attack your skin and get eczema. All right, now, so the next thing is Lisa says, asking for my cousin who is 75 years old and suffers with osteoarthritis of her left leg. What causes osteoarthritis? Well, constant use of anything creates microtrauma. That microtrauma, damage to the cell membrane, even of the bone and the cartilage, has to be repaired with protein and fat, not fruits and vegetables. And it has to have a capillary to get there. So if you went on my Tustin Longevity Center YouTube and you put in joint, you would see my whole lecture on the tiny synovial arteries, the only link you have to hydrating your joints. And so lack of water, gumming it up, clogging all these tiny capillaries like a clogged sink or a clogged toilet with all your sticky carbs. So the blood doesn't go, so the cells break down, and then you start having excess weight, and you have more pounds per square inch intended for that joint, and so it breakdowns from that. Hayden says, what is the maximum amount of magnesium glycinate a 140-pound adult female can take at night for bad menstrual cramps? Well, you would probably want a fast-acting form, so that would be magnesium citrate. Or you could take a combination of magnesium citrate and magnesium glycinate that's a little slower absorbed, longer acting. And then I would take systemic enzymes. I would take Vitalzyme or Vascuzyme or systemic enzymes on an empty stomach. You haven't had anything to eat for 4 to 6 hours. We eat too late, so we should all be stopping eating, before 6 p.m. And then hopefully we're all going to bed sometime between 9 and 10. But anyway, if you take enzymes, you drink enough water, you take magnesium citrate, magnesium glycinate, and the amount of magnesium that is felt to be the maximum, men can have a little more. I would say 450 milligrams for a man. I would say 350 milligrams roughly for a female. So if you had mag citrate, 200, and you had magnesium glycinate, 100 or 150, that would be a nice dosing. And then take your enzymes and your water. Diane says, Dr. E, could you share how carnivore has impacted your lipids? I'm ketovore for 2 months and haven't felt this mentally stable in all of my 59 years. I will never go back to eating carbs over 20, 40 grams a day again, but worry about lipids and heart health. I'm a runner, lift weights, no pharma drugs, only bioidenticals, lots of supplements, NP thyroid. Normally the keto carnivore diet definitely will lower your triglycerides and lift up your HDL protective. And so when your HDL is equal to your triglycerides, you're in a very good state. Or, some will say if your triglycerides are slightly above your HDL, if it's within a 1.5 ratio, it's still good. I like them to be equal. But so normally that improves LDL and cholesterol typically come down. And there are the really good athletic people, the lean, low fat mass person with like a body fat under, 14%. These are lean mass responders that tend to have a very high LDL. We don't perceive this as being a bad thing. LDL is not a good predictor of heart disease, so I wouldn't worry about it. I would far more worry about your HOMA-IR, which is your fasting blood sugar times your fasting insulin divided by 405, and that should be under 1. And most people fail this test unless you're a patient of mine. And that's why I get to go to my patient's 100th birthday party, my patient's 90th birthday party. So I'm starting to go, I was thinking in life, where's all the fun and the parties in my life? I've never done it. No prom, no homecoming, none of that foolishness. And so now I realize God had all these nanogenarian and centenarian birthday parties he planned for me to go to. So you see, God's way is above our ways, his thoughts above our thoughts. His thoughts are always for our good. So anyway, that's my answer for that. Julie, a friend who is a healthy 59-year-old male, 6 foot, 165 pounds, no health issues, no medicines, always has very cold hands and feet. Is this an indication of a potential issue ongoing? The body temperature is dropping on everyone for some reason. We know it's damage to the cells, but we're supposed to be 98.6. I would say it's more like 97.8 now and the average. So we have dropped as a nation. What I'm getting at is essential core temperature 98.6. When you measure the hands, the cold hands or hand temperature, they should be about 92 degrees. And it's because the heat circulated blood is going into the finger and the finger is warmed up and then comes back and gets heated up and comes again. So this is getting heated all the time. So when the fingers are cold, the feet are cold, this is implying poor circulation. What helps this? Well, EDTA chelation therapy, managing your stress, your cortisol, because stress creates vasoconstriction to get you ready for fight or flight. A very stress, easy to tick off person, very temperamental, type A personality. They can have that. Then you can have metabolic problems. And you can have too many carbs clogging up the circulation and the microcirculation. So there's many causes, but I would look at thyroid, metabolic, sugar issues, I would look at stress management. I would look at exercise because that's a natural vasodilator, especially weightlifting. I would look at hydration, drinking enough water. Pat, I had 2 Moderna COVID vaccine shots at the end of 2020 and then a booster a year later. It has had a major effect on my immune system. When I get a virus, I'm sick now for 3 to 4 weeks when it used to take me under a week. Okay, so I get so much bronchial inflammation, I need to go on steroids to calm things down. Is there any way to detox the COVID spike protein? The answer is we can improve things greatly. But messenger RNA is injecting a genome into a human body that is going to take over your own production of genetic information replication and where it goes in your body, what activates it, turns it up and on, or uh, off is not understood, and so they were very wrong in introducing this. So much for all your degrees and laudable institutions of higher learning. They all mean nothing. I don't care Hopkins, Harvard, Stanford. I all am disgusted with them. I'm a nobody. I'm a GM, general medical officer, general practitioner. I am family practice trained, and I know far more and never used it, never masked my patients, never had 6 foot distancing, never did any of this. I had all my patients already on vitamin D, adequate hydration, low carb diet, and I had them on a good nutritive zinc rich multi mineral vitamin. So their zinc was good, their D was good. They didn't have the obesity, hypertension issue, diabetes, and then they had the vitamin A, E rich multivitamin or Juice Plus, and we had the high dose vitamin C drips. We had the systemic enzymes to disinflame them. We had the EDTA chelation with high dose vitamin C to improve microcirculation. I have all kinds of cancer, heart disease, diabetic, hypertensive, obese patients, metabolically challenged people who start doing this, get on these core nutrient protocols, not eating late, starting to exercise. Not one of mine was hospitalized. Not one of mine. And so all these other doctors shut their doors, hid behind a mask. And what did we do here? We opened up more days, and I work 6 days a week. So don't tell me Harvard or Hopkins or Stanford or any pinnacle pointy headed professor of anything. Show me the beef. Work, be with the patients. And there you go. So yeah, that's what we would do. So if you can come, we'll certainly try and help you. Lynn says, hi, Dr. Rita. What are your thoughts on the shingles vaccine for those over 65 and healthy? Well, that's another issue. GlaxoSmithKline makes it, and they have been prosecuted and found liable for so much fraud and wrongdoing and unlawful death to the tune of billions. Now, do you think I will like doing business with people who are felons? Companies that are known felonious companies? What do you think? No, I don't think I want to work with those guys. Okay. I think I want to work with people who know how to keep people healthy, manage their stress, and give them high dose vitamin C as soon as maybe a shingles will break out, because that's just the old chicken pox varicella living in the dorsal spine and crawls out with stress and immune stressor down one nerve path. And then it can get painful, but usually that's modulated over the course of time. Certainly with what we do, with all the things we do in the high dose vitamin C and enzymes, it's really something quite manageable. No, I don't think I would recommend that from, I wouldn't recommend anybody go to a place that has billions paid in unlawful death and fraud. So no, I don't work with those companies. I don't recommend their goods. Let's see. Susan, thank you for all your help. Dr. Rita, will praise the Lord. Besides staying away from gluten, what is the best way to control candida? Well, a low carb diet, totally low carb. It thrives on any form of sugar, fruit sugar, the sugar that you drink, starch, all that kind of stuff. So, an inflamed red itchy rash appears on the stomach, spreading upwards and underneath my arms if gluten is eaten. Yeah, so I would stay away from that, and we should heal. Brigitte says, "What do you think of shingles vaccine?" Okay, I already said that already. Uh, Marilyn, myself and many seniors I know are really stressed about possible changes the administration in Washington might do to Social Security. I live a healthy lifestyle, including most of what you recommend, but this stress is a big issue right now. I don't want my health to decline during this reckless behavior in Washington. All right, I guess that's a statement. I suspect that it's going to be very much better. I think we were already headed on a track of problems and not related to this administration, only 6 weeks in. The whole idea that they can corrupt the food, corrupt the education, corrupt the skies with chemtrails, corrupt the flow of water, and let things dry out with aluminum in the chemtrails, making the forest floors have pyrotechnics in it so that even a spark would explode because aluminum is one of the things that is a accelerant. I think we have a corrupt, bureaucratic situation that is not accountable to our vote, our representation, or the Constitution. They serve a money, power, self-aggrandizement to a select few and their cabal. It works more like a mafia. And so I don't think Social Security should be something offered. I don't think we should have a Department of Education. I think everything should be local. I think we should be responsible. All the hospitals and stuff, all these great institutions of learning, all came out of the charitable giving and civilized love for the neighbor from the Christian ethos since Christ came. And all of this was donated and given, and doctors served in a ministry at the local hospital, not to make some great name and wealth and so forth. So, yeah, local hospitals, local state events, local education, a localized police force accountable to you right there in your town hall. And you know them, and you can see if your police chief goes to church, and you can see if how their kids behave, and you can see if he's cheating on his wife or the wife is cheating on her husband. Local. That's why doctors don't want to settle down and be in one place, because you get to know me and you get to know my weaknesses, my failures, my family issues. You get to know whether I go to church or not. You get to know all these things about me. And it is a control on me. I want to do my best. I want to be seen doing my best over the years. And I want that accountability. It helps me to be a better person. So yeah, that's why nobody wants to be a good old general practitioner, family doctor, internal medicine. They don't want it. It's not glorified enough. It's not wealthy enough. In fact, it's one of the lowest paid jobs, but it's the most rewarding in love and care. And how excited am I to go Saturday after next to this 100th birthday party? Wow, that's so cool. Okay, and then last ones. Hi, Dr. Rita. I have about 200 red bumps all over my chest and stomach. They're called cherry angiomas. These are like little 2 millimeter little pimples, you might say, that are just cherry red. They're just little capillary bunches. Two doctors say it's hereditary. Should I be concerned? The answer is no. And the answer is thank you. And they usually show up more as we age. They're always there. God only knows how many capillaries are all around you. And as your skin thins, if you don't eat enough protein, healthy fats, exercise, drink enough water, your skin is going to thin out and these things will show up more and more. So, did I get everything? Carolyn says, thank you, Dr. Rita. Genuine caring faith is comforting. Thank you. Jackie says, what do you think of grounding sheets? I think they're good. I like getting out on the real wet grass and standing there every morning with my feet. And then that's my 2-3 minutes to say, okay, God, I'm on active duty. I'm ready for you to serve your people. I'm thankful for you, for everything I have. It's my thankful time and getting ready. It's like I'm getting dressed with the Ephesians chapter 5 full armor of God. It's my 2-3 minutes to do that every day. And so it's so fun to be alive, and even with all my problems in life, it's still a wonderful thing to serve the true and almighty God. Well, I'll see you next week, everyone. God bless and keep you. Pray for yourself, that you walk rightly and do good, and for your family and to your Lord, and pray for our local government, and all the way up to the national government and our president, and for world peace. All right. God bless. Take care.